We good? All righty. Good evening and welcome to our February 23rd, 2026 regular City Council meeting, calling the meeting to order. And as always, we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And Dr. Starkman, you invited our pledge leaders this evening, so could you introduce them and bring them up, please?
Yes, so we have Cub Scout Pack 362 from Farmington STEAM Academy. They were kind enough to invite me to talk to them about local government last month, and we had a blast, and I am really excited that they are here to lead us in the pledge. I think, yes, okay, we have a few that are coming.
Click on, friends.
All right.
Oh, is this the microphone?
Yeah, you can speak into the microphone. That's perfect.
I know just, I can do it.
Okay.
I already asked you.
Okay.
Right. Attention. May the audience please rise. Oh, okay. You may now join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Scott.
The audience may now be seated.
Yes, come on, guys.
Oh, and they have to introduce their mascot.
Yes, please.
So this is Cubby the Bear, and he goes to different groups, Cub Scout groups, because older kids don't want him. He's one of
I wore red suit for my filming today. I said, let me take it off. I should have
Gorgeous.
kept it.
All right, hold on, where are we looking? Great, thank you, everyone. Oh, wait, parents, do you want to come over here to do the photos? Okay, come on. Great job, Scouts, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right, roll call, please.
Council members Aldred.
Here.
Olaware.
Here.
Dwyer.
Here.
Knoll. Here. Starkman.
Here.
Mayor Rich.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, would appreciate a motion to approve our regular session agenda, please.
So moved. Support.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is a regular vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Okay, thank you. That then takes us to announcements and presentations from city boards, commissions, and public officials, and we have a couple this evening. The first is presentation of the Historic District Commission 2025 Annual Report. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you
back.
all?
Doing well.
So I'm Ken Clemmer. I'm the chair of the Historic District Commission. And for those of you that aren't familiar with what the Historic District Commission does, is we oversee the approximately 75 historic properties or historic districts that are in the city, and we help the homeowners and property owners with historical issues related to the maintenance and care of their structures. Each property is its own district in the city of Farmington Hills, so we don't really have a cluster like some cities would, per se. Vice chair for our group is Marlene Toulis, recording secretary Alec Thompson, and then we have other commissioners, Emily Howard, Steve Olson, Jim Paulson, and John Treflett. Our city council liaison is Valerie Knoll, and our excellent city contact is Kirsten Mellon, who's new. So our goals and objectives for 2025, assist with the ongoing development of the Sarah Fisher site. We've done a lot of work on that house, helped with a lot of work on that house over the last couple of years, and that continues. Hosting educational and social gatherings open to the public. We're still looking for properties that can be included in the Historic District program. We're now up to the 1960s, believe it or not. Continue collaboration with the Historic District Commission and Public Works for maintaining the cemeteries. The two city-owned cemeteries are Utley and West Cemetery, and implementing our cemetery preservation plan. And that's been going well. I'll talk about that a little more in a moment. And as I mentioned, the Spicer House exterior. We had 8 meetings this year. We canceled 4 due to lack of business. We issued 10 certificates of appropriateness. 3 of those were administrative, and then the other 7 were a little more involved, and I'll run through those very briefly. We had 3 events, Cemetery Workday, the Spicer Community Open House, and Oakwood Cottage Anniversary, 100th anniversary. So this is the Lemuel Botsford House on Farmington Road. We issued a certificate of appropriateness for window replacement, and this homeowner's done some excellent work on this house over the last few years and really brought it up to a very high standard. The Spicer House, certificates of appropriateness included various exterior repairs, doors, shutters, window repairs, and repairing of the exterior stucco. The Arthur Beckwith House, one of our more contemporary homes in the city on Franklin Fairway. They had an existing pool house that was in very poor repair that was demolished, and they are constructing a new pool house that's much more in keeping with the style of the home. John Pettibone House on 12 Mile Road, that's actually a commercial property, and they got a new freestanding monument sign. The Orville Botsford House, also known as the Lone Ranger House on Locust Street. Here in this picture, it's got a lot more trees around it than it does now after the storm we had a few years ago, unfortunately. They had a minor fire this year, or this past year, and this covered some of those repairs to the building. The Kirby White House on 10 Mile and Farmington Road has, through historical records, we found that it originally had shutters on it, and those shutters were reinstalled last year, so this is a nice new picture of it with shutters. Really looks good. The things we worked on this year with them were putting in a new fence and a generator. And the Nehemiah Hoyt House, which was a rather troubled property, abandoned for some time, has a new owner now and is getting much needed repairs. I mentioned the cemetery restoration project at the Utley and West cemeteries. For those of you that don't know, the West Cemetery is at the corner of 12 Mile and Halstead Road. Utley is on 12 Mile between Inkster and Middlebelt. I always say the wrong thing. So that's been a very fruitful activity. We get the scouts involved, a lot of volunteers involved with working on projects there. The Spicer House was well attended. We had an open house there and tours in conjunction with the, well, this wasn't with the fall hayride, but it was a special open house that we had in May. And then Oakwood Cottage, which is my own house, had its 100th birthday this year, so we had an open house and tour, and I think we had about 130, 140 people through. So that was a lot of fun. Here's some little bit of the detail with the cemetery monument restoration project, also showing some of our able volunteers. This is year 5 of working on this project, and we really appreciate the financial assistance the city's been able to devote to these projects. It really makes a difference when people visit loved ones at their cemetery, and it's in much better repair than it has been in decades. So 11 broken markers were repaired this year at the Utley Cemetery and at the West Cemetery, the little storage building there got a new roof. And I said we had Boy Scout troops there a couple of times, and they did excellent work. The Spicer Open House in May gave people a chance to tour the house, see some of the restoration in progress, and for us to talk about some of the innovative things we're doing with helping preserve and protect that house. I think we had at least 30 community members there, maybe more. It seemed pretty crowded. And the Oakwood Cottage 100th Anniversary Open House, as I mentioned, went great. We served a lot of ice cream. We had a lot left over. I ate ice cream for 2 months after that.
Oh, no.
And that is all. Any questions?
Thank you. Well, Ms. Knoll, as the liaison, anything you would like to say?
Sure, well, just a big thank you, a huge thank you. This is a very, very active commission, as you can tell from their report. They're involved in a variety of activities. It's so important, the work that they're doing, to really save the history here in Farmington Hills. Especially with everything they're doing with the Spicer House. That's really important too. It's a city-owned structure, but I appreciate the fact that you really kind of push the city to make sure that that house receives some love. We all know it needs a little more love, and that I hope you continue to push the city on that one, because it's important. And again, thank you for everything you're doing to the cemeteries. It's a great partnership with the city, with the DPW department, as well as with the community, with all the Boy Scouts, everyone who's come out there and worked to clean the monuments and keep them not just clean, but in good repair. And I also want to say thank you for everything you've done for the Nehemiah Hoyt House. So you kind of touched on that, but for the community members out there, I don't think it's too far of a reach to say that if it weren't for the Historical Commission, it's possible we might have lost that house in Farmington Hills. I mean, basically,
Very likely.
it had a tree through the roof. It was in really, really bad condition, and who knows what would have happened to it. It probably would have continued to sit there vacant with a tree in it. It didn't even have a tarp over the roof. It probably could have continued to sit there for another 3 years. Who knows? There was an issue with ownership and so forth. And the commission really pushed and pushed and pushed to get a tarp over the roof, to help preserve the house and maintain it until a new owner could purchase it. And now they're working with the new owner to make sure that the repairs are done and the exterior still stays in the character of the architecture of the home. So thank you for everything
You're welcome.
that you're doing. It's a great commission. There's a lot of knowledge on this commission. It's a really nice, diverse group. They represent a variety of areas, whether it's building, architecture, historical lighting, you name it. They've got a lot of knowledge. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone
Thank you.
else? All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate the job that your commission does.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we also have Dan Vantor from the Commission on Aging who would like to address us this evening. Good evening, Dan.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Dan Fantor, and I'm Chair of the Farmington Area Commission on Aging. Last week, I toured the Rochester OPC, which is their senior community center, with Councilmember Starkman and two friends of the Costic, Lori Darrow and Sue Homet. The OPC was built in 2003, but looks new. It serves the residents of Rochester, Rochester Hills, and Oakland Township. And that has a population of about 111,000, so a little bigger than the Farmingtons. The OPC is 90,000 square feet. The OPC is on 2 floors and has many elevators. This shows the value of field trips because a 2-story building does not sound out of the question now. The features we liked at the OPC included a walking track. 17 laps equaled a mile. It's on the 2nd floor that looks over the pickleball courts. It had 4 pickleball courts that had ping pong tables on the sidelines, and we assumed that there must be times when there was ping pong instead of pickleball. There's 2 swimming pools. One has a deep end, and that was for swimming laps, and it's at 83 degrees. The caustic pool is 87. But they also had a therapeutic pool at 93 degrees, and was used for therapeutic water aerobics, and we saw it happening right there, and it was appreciated by the residents. It has yoga and exercise rooms with a raised platform. The room seems small to this yogi, but there were multiple rooms, and we may not have seen a room that could accommodate, because I'm going to yoga at the Cossack Center, there's 40 or 50 people there, and the room seems small to me at the Rochester one. They had 2 rooms rented by the local hospital system. One room was staffed by a nurse paid for by the hospital system, and she takes blood pressures, talks to folks, makes referrals, hears problems, makes suggestions. She doesn't provide services that are billed. The hospital system also pays to rent a physical therapy room. And that looked like a place I've gone to for 3 times for my knee. And if a user gets a prescription for physical therapy, they can get their services at that community center. Seems like a great idea. There's a workout room with various machines like treadmills, stationary bikes, and weight machines. There was a game room with 4 pool tables and 2 dart boards. They have a kitchen that prepares their meals on wheels and congregate dining. They also have a snack bar. There was a theater with a stage and a grand piano. Every room had a sponsor that paid for the room and for the naming rights. There was a book and puzzle libraries. I saw a section for large print books. There was it was flat access from 2 very large parking lots. And if someone didn't have a handicap sticker, it's possible you might be parking very far away. So I'm looking for ways to get people close to the building who have limited access. So we found it very helpful. It's a well-designed community center, and we will continue to tell you about others that we visit.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. But before you go, Dan, council, any questions?
Big thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for doing the field trip. One question, do they have something similar to the Cenex program that we
Yes, they
have for
do.
memory care?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And also interesting, it is run by a board. There's a board of, I forget what they're called, but they oversee the services of the senior services combined with that center. So
And I know they do a lot of field trips, too.
they have a lot of field trips.
I had a client who met his wife on a field trip.
Okay.
The reason that I'm familiar with it is one of my good friends from college. Her dad is a lifeguard there, so I'm familiar with the site. And so I thought, why don't we go check it out? Because it has a lot of things that I think could be integrated into our new caustic, and it was a really good time. And I think that it's probably one of the best senior centers in the area for sure. So I think we learned a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Knoll?
I do have a question. So I was talking to some of the Friends of the Caustic, and they toured the new Livonia Senior Center. Dan, have you organized a tour of that one for the rest of, for anyone else who's interested in going?
I've not gone. Did anyone go? Sue went?
Well, I didn't go with the group. My sister lives in Livonia. So
Yeah, that one's so nice and close.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had already taken a group
We
there.
hear some criticisms of it.
Yeah,
So-
I've heard both. I've heard there's some things people like as well. So
Yeah.
it's always great to get feedback on different ones.
Yeah. We definitely win in art.
Yeah.
So Dan, did you happen to see, did they have any adult changing rooms or changing tables with the tables that lift up and down on hydraulics?
I didn't see that.
We've been talking about
But
that
it was a
quite a bit,
very
too.
modern, even though it's like almost 20, or
They don't have those.
They don't
more than
have
20
those?
years
Okay.
old. There was it was a very modern locker room.
Mm-hmm.
They had a coat room where people could just come and put your coat, and Oh, they had a medical supply closet.
Oh, like a loaner's
Yes, yeah,
closet? Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, great.
Really
Wonderful
opened our
learnings. Wonderful learnings, and thank you so much.
thank you.
Sterling Heights is next, right?
Yeah, next we want to go to Sterling.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Please,
Sterling
Yeah,
Heights.
keep us posted.
Because they're all on the same campus.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
don't have the pool.
They're across,
Yeah.
yes,
ish.
they're across the
Ish.
street. There's the senior center, which is across the street from the community center, which is kind of across the street from City Hall. And it's not all on one campus, but it's all kind of within a circle, but there's different roads that run in there.
The farmer's market and all of that, yeah.
In Dodge Park, all that's in that area.
Great, thank you so much for taking the time. Okay, that then takes us to, were there any other city boards, commissions, or public officials who wanted to speak this evening? I didn't see anyone else here. Okay, that then takes us to correspondence. Anyone? We have received an email from former council member Matt Strickfaden regarding a FOIA request, and I understand from our acting city manager that there's conversation continuing. Correct. Okay, but did want to acknowledge the receipt of that from Matt. Okay, that then takes us to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine, administrative, or non-controversial by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the items may be removed from the consent agenda for consideration and will be read by the Mayor Pro Tem, Ms. Bolliwer.
Consent agenda for February 23rd, number 5, recommended acceptance of the Planning Commission 2025 Annual Report, CMR 2-26-23. Number 6, recommended approval of a resolution establishing the Farmington Hills Activity Center Ad Hoc Advisory Committee. Number 7, recommended approval of the Second Amendment to the Use and Participation Agreement between the city and Comprehensive GI Solutions, PLLC at the Hawk, CMR 2-26-24. Number 8, recommended approval of a resolution recognizing American ACES Foundation as a nonprofit organization operating in the community for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license. Number 9, recommended approval of an agreement with Michigan Department of Transportation for the Halstead Road construction project from 12 Mile Road to 14 Mile Road, CMR 2-26-25. Number 10, recommended approval of award of sewer inspection, cleaning, and repair services to SAC Construction, LLC, in an amount not to exceed the budgeted amount for the current fiscal year through June 16, 2027, with extensions. CMR 2-26-26. Number 11, recommended adoption of a bond authorizing resolution to sell capital improvement bonds to finance capital improvements. CMR 2-26-27. Number 12, recommended approval of establishing the budget study session meeting dates of May 4th and May 5th, 2026. Number 13, recommended approval of City Council study session minutes of February 9th, 2026. Number 14, recommended approval of City Council regular session minutes of February 9th, 2026. And last, 15, recommended approval of City Council goals session minutes of February 11th, 2026.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Okay, is there a second?
Second?
Okay, there is a motion and a second, and that would be items 5 through 15. This is a roll call vote.
Council members Bolliwer,
Yes?
Dwyer,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Starkman,
Yes.
Aldred,
Yes.
Mayor Rich.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, that then takes us to council member comments and announcements. Anyone? Ms. Knoll?
Sure, so thank you. So I'm the liaison for the Beautification Commission, and I want to make an announcement of a annual event that they hold. So they hold a litter walk. It's the Carol Posby Litter Walk. It is the last Saturday in April. So anyone who's interested, you can participate as an individual, or members, you can gather members of your family or your subdivision or friends, and you can go out and you can pick a section of the road and clean it up. It's a perfect time. It's around Earth Day. It's spring. People are getting out and about. The snow will for sure be melted by then, hopefully. I say hopefully because one year I think we did actually have snow still that day. But it's a good time to get out there and beautify Farmington Hills. Like I said, you can pick the section of road you want to do. I find most people do a section right around where they live, their subdivision. If you're interested in participating, you can call the city and you can let the Community Development Department know that you're interested. I will read the phone number, and I hope I've got this correct, but it's 248-871-2545. Does that sound correct, Charmaine? Great. So you can let them know you're interested, and then our DPW department will actually drop off all the trash bags and gloves for you, so you don't even have to go out and buy your own trash bags and gloves. The city will provide them. Once you fill up the trash bags, you just leave them right there on the street, on the side of the street in the right-of-way, and DPW will come pick up all the trash bags that you are able to fill up. So we hope to have a good attendance, and like I said, if you're interested in participating, call the city and let them know so that DPW can get you your supplies.
Question?
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Knowles. I know many seniors or just youth in general are looking for letters for community service, for college applications or various other, reasons. Can those individuals get a community service letter for participating in that activity?
Yeah, high school students? So if high school students want to participate, they can, but for their own, well, they do have to have an adult with them for their own safety, because they're not 18. But if high school students are mature enough, so yes, they can do it, but they do have to have an adult. So whether it's one of the parents, or in most cases, it would probably, be required that a parent is with them, but they can, I'm sure someone from the city can sign their form to prove that they participated, because I know that is a requirement of the community service project, that they have that form signed. So, yeah, definitely. We'll take all the volunteers we can get.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other council members' comments or announcements? Okay, I had a couple. First, happy 100th birthday to Mr. A.C. McDaniel, Farmington Hills resident. He was unable to be here this evening, but we are told he is watching us on YouTube. So happy birthday, Mr. McDaniel. Reminder, the State of the City's address is going to be March 6th, which is a Friday, and that will be at 7 p.m. at Farmington High School. That'll be State of the Cities from us, from Farmington, from the school district, from OCC, and Corwell will be participating as well. There is a business expo that evening from 4:30 to 6:30. That is all open to the public and free of charge, and we look forward to that. There's also a VIP reception sponsored, and the whole thing is sponsored by the Greater Farmington Area Chamber of Commerce. There is a VIP reception, $75 a head, but otherwise, everything else is free and open to the public. Happy Lunar New Year for those so observing. Yesterday, had the opportunity to participate with the Association of Chinese Americans at Eastern Market, and they had about 3,000 people there. And it was a really fabulous event. And the Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce is having an event here this evening at Honghua. Happy Lunar New Year to them. And then finally, it is Ramadan, and a number of us participated at an iftar dinner last week with the Dawoodi Boras, whose masjid or mosque is on Orchard Lake between 8 and 9 Mile. They had a community iftar dinner. The iftar dinner is after a day of fasting. It is when people come together, they have prayers, and then as a community, they break the fast. And also had the opportunity to attend an iftar dinner at the Tawhid Center on Saturday. And so that's 2 of our 4 mosques in our city. That's all I have. Anyone else? Let's take it to City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Rich. I just wanted to advise that the City of Farmington Hills will be hosting a hiring event on both March 10th and March 16th at 5 p.m. at the Hawk. And multiple departments are hiring, both part-time and full-time positions. This is an opportunity for applicants to learn about those opportunities for employment. There will be giveaways, on-site interviews, and you don't need an appointment. Further information is available on our website, www.fhgov.com. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And that takes us to unfinished business. Consideration of approval of an amendment to the Planned Unit Development Plan 12, 2014, including Site 60-7-2025 Culver's Restaurant. And we will recall this was postponed from January 12th, 2026. This is CMR 2-26-22. And a reminder for anyone who wishes to do public comment on this particular item, please come forward with a blue card to our clerk. And anyone who wants to do public comment on any other topic, that'll be at the end of the agenda for public comment. Again, we appreciate if people would submit a blue card. Good evening.
Good evening. Charmaine Kettler-Schmaltz, the Director of Planning and Community Development, to introduce and give a little background for the item. We are between planning consultants, so you get me tonight. Hopefully we'll be able to cover all of your questions. This request is for an amendment to PUD 12 of 2014, including Site Plan 67, 2025. This is in consideration for a drive-through restaurant to be located within the 12 Orchard Shopping Center in the site that's outlined on the aerial behind or on your screens. As a little bit of background, this item was before the Planning Commission twice, once for an introduction and second for a public hearing. That was held on November 20th in 2025. And as Mayor mentioned, City Council last reviewed this request on January 12th of 2026. The Giffords-Webster review is in your packet. That was for the document that you reviewed at your January meeting. We have further an update with the Planning Office review to highlight changes that were on the plan since that submission afterwards. A couple things I want to highlight in that review that will still need to be addressed. One, access easements will need to be taken into account. The proposed plan indicates shared usage of the parking lot, a need for access in order to service the dumpsters that are at the northern end of their proposed location. I did want to note that the off-street parking requirements per the zoning ordinance can be met. There was some question about that in the previous review. Staff reviewed it a little bit further. With the original parking striped and indicated on an amended plan, we believe that the parking standards can be met per the zoning ordinance for what is proposed at this location. There may need to be some indication as to exactly how that's going to be laid out, but we believe there's enough space physically on the property to accommodate that. The applicant will give a little bit more detail in their request and proposal. One of the things that they mentioned on their last submission was additional lighting along the rear parking area that will need to comply with the current zoning standards. The original plan in 2014 did not have the same standard for lighting that we do now with shielding and making sure that light doesn't trespass into the neighboring properties. In addition to that, I wanted to outline since this is a PUD, there are some discretionary items that are with the deviation from the zoning ordinance. These have not changed since the January review of the plans. Drive-through restaurant use is not permitted in the B4 planned general business, which this is located. The request is to permit a drive-through restaurant to be located in a standalone building where such use is not permitted in the B4 district. A drive-through restaurant building is requested to be located within the front yard setback at 44.7 feet from the right-of-way, where a 120-foot minimum is required currently. Vehicular access drive for the drive-in restaurant is proposed to be located within 60 feet of the road right-of-way of any intersection. This is clearly within that. And the vehicle stacking spaces, order confirmation, and menu boards for a drive-in restaurant is not allowed per the zoning ordinance to be located within a front yard where such lanes and structures are currently shown to be proposed. The traffic and site circulation was a very important topic discussed by the council at your previous meeting. The applicant has submitted traffic study information and received comments. That has gone back and forth a couple of times since your January meeting. The most recent revision was received by the city last Thursday afternoon. A detailed response has not been assembled at this point, but there may be some information for you should you have questions of the engineering staff and the applicant's traffic engineer. I did want to note, as the mayor mentioned, that we did have our public hearing before City Council at your January meeting. It'll be at council's discretion whether you choose to take additional comments on this item this evening, and wanted to say that I am available for questions either before or after the applicant's presentation.
Okay. So shall we hear from the applicant?
Thank you. Okay. We'll just switch over real quick.
And for council's benefit, we have received one card requesting to speak from Mr. Karen, the owner of Scramblers. Good evening.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for the city staff for their presentation as well. That's very helpful for us to kind of get things kicked off. Alan Eisenberg, Noack and Froust, the civil engineer. Good to see you all again. Derek Sessi, the owner, is also here with me today. And we have AECom, our traffic engineer, Luke Liu, who's in the audience if we need him. So just want to touch base on a couple of the things that we went through the last time, being the setbacks and the drive-through location. You know, as we kind of discussed, with the 200-foot deep property, the 120-foot setback becomes kind of a real hindrance to this site. So we haven't made changes to that based on our discussion previously. The main topics that we wanted to focus on were the parking, the traffic, and the rear of the site, because those were kind of the hang-ups. So as we go through this, you'll see that we added signage and parking near the entrance and the exit to help better traffic flow for the Culver site. We have letters from Culver's on the location restrictions. We've reached out to the plaza owner and gotten a letter of intent for the employee parking and new lighting in the rear should this project go forward. We've provided some site renderings for that area to kind of help show how we can clean that up. And then we have some example locations of other Culver sites kind of showing they're in the generally 25 to 30 parking space range. So I'll kind of skip the back and forth of all of the lingo that's in this, but we'll go to the pictures. So when we look at the entry, you come in on the left picture, that bottom left corner of that photo shows the entrance. What we've done is we've created an island around the sign that exists in that parking lot and the little like pork chop shaped island right off the southwest, directing traffic to go around the Culver site in order to get into the drive-through queue. We've also put a one-way do not enter sign that if you're coming down that 24.1 foot maneuvering lane, you are not allowed to go right there because it will back up traffic at the approach. So we're forcing traffic, once we leave the drive-through, which is the right picture, to actually make a right turn and head back to the main drive aisles, whether it be the one that gets in line with this southern driveway off of 12 Mile or the one to Orchard Lake. So nobody will be able to turn left leaving the Culver site. We have the letter of location restriction from Culver's, which is in your packet as well, providing the kind of back and forth on the other locations and possible spots that Culver's could go with their setback and distance requirements. And then we've gotten a letter of intent from the ownership group of the plaza, which states that they will clean up the rear parking, require the tenants to have their employees park in that back, and they will update the lighting should this be approved. So we do have a new photometric plan based on the current standards. You can see, it's kind of hard to see here. I wish we could zoom in a little bit, but the red shows the lighting levels, and then the blue is where it hits zero. So you'll see that that does cut off at that rear property line so that we don't affect the neighboring properties. They provided some fixture styles. So the plan is to update the existing wall packs on the back of the building to a new LED light fixture, and then add some poles along that western property line to help kind of brighten up that parking area and make it a little safer. So you'll see those in the renderings. You can see the updated wall packs up a little higher, brighter, modern fixtures with those light poles. We've got a couple angles of that. And then that's as you come around the back side, around the corner. So it's total 65 spaces that we gain in that back area. And as we've talked about before, we were losing 64 spaces as part of the Culver's development with the existing parking. So we think that that balance of gaining 65 to lose 64, we're a net 1, but that'll free up a lot more space in the front for customer parking. And then we took some example locations. There's a Madison Heights that you can see. These are all from Google Earth. The most cars that were parked in the parking lot within the last 5 years based on Google Earth images. So I want to be very clear that we didn't hand pick which ones we were doing. We took the most cars in those images. So Madison Heights had 30, Wixom had 29, and Waterford had 27. So we're generally right in that 25 to 30 range. And when we flip back to the site plan, we can see that the first row adjacent to our building has 9. The row up top has 8 or 9. So we're really only talking about utilizing 6 or 7 of the adjacent spaces that we share with the rest of the parking lot.
All 3 of those examples.
There you go, yeah. Okay. So I think that's the main highlights that we've changed since the last time that we've been in front of you. So we are open to any questions.
Okay, council. All right, I see Mr. Dwyer and then Mr. Aldred and Ms. Null.
Thank you.
Not yet.
I see that you were able to resolve the parking for all employees in the entire plaza.
Correct.
How many vehicles would that entail, if you know?
Yeah, there will be 65 spaces. I don't know the exact numbers of employees within the entire plaza based on the uses.
It'll open up 65 additional spaces.
Correct. It opens 65 of the main parking lot spaces with that.
Which is not being utilized right now.
Yeah.
So your traffic engineer and the city traffic engineer both looked at the site?
They have.
Okay. I'd like to get an update from your traffic engineer and also the city's traffic engineer.
Perfect.
That was my question.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Name is Luke Liu. I'm with AECom. Address is 39575 Louis Drive in Novi. So as to the question about specific employee required parking space, that's not part of the generation specific for each business, but each business is analyzed for the overall requirement for parking spaces.
Okay, so what did you actually analyze?
I beg your pardon?
When you said you analyzed parking. So what did you analyze? I mean, and I'm concerned about how reliable your traffic study is and how reliable the city's traffic study is. Because if I found that these analyses based on TIA are considered unreliable at many times, percentage-wise. So I'm concerned about that as far as, are they accurate studies? Are they reliable studies? And I'd like to hear from yourself and also the city.
Yeah, for this specific site, we consulted the city staff, and with the understanding of the peak use period of the whole plaza. And we have staff to take the occupancy study for both weekday and weekend peaks to understand the real occupancy of parking space uses. And based on that data that we collected, the current design does provide enough parking use for the existing and proposed business.
Okay, thank you.
I can concur with that. Their initial study had real-time traffic counts on a Friday night, and I believe it was a Saturday afternoon. So they counted the entirety of the site for spots, and I think with the covers, there might have been 351 total available spots in their new plan or close to that. And they did have excess parking based on the actual parking lot counts they provided. Then I had a couple of our engineering interns visit the site on that Friday and a random Saturday. And the counts weren't exact, but they were reasonably in the ballpark. Some were higher, some were lower.
Okay, thank you.
I also want to, if you don't mind, I also want to add, we are also going to make a commitment to have our employees park behind there as well. The plaza owner allowed us, so that's still, so we're going to even have our, not only will the plaza be committed to having their employees park there, but we're also going to have our employees park back there too.
Okay, so you really addressed, my concerns that I had regarding, at the last meeting, regarding the parking and traffic congestion and the drive-through. And I looked at the other, as far as the stacking and what you're doing there, and taking care of the other area as far as the employees parking in the rear with lighting and so on and so forth. So I will be supporting this proposal later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Mr. Aldred.
Thank you. If you could just pull up your diagram, I'm not sure which page it was, but it had it's basically what I'm looking for is just a description to help me understand the traffic flow in the plaza. And so take me through it. If someone pulls in off 12 Mile, they come in the plaza, where do they go? And then how do they stack? And what does that look like? Because I'm just struggling a little bit with exactly how it works.
If you have one, yeah, that'd be awesome.
Just going to see if we can get a better overall view of the plan.
Thank you. I think we're all kind of struggling on that.
That was my question too. From the drawing, I cannot understand how it
Follow
works.
Yeah, help us. We're stuck. Help.
Better?
Yeah, that'll work. All right. I wish I had a laser. This would make it so much easier. All right, so if you're traveling on 12 Mile.
Is there not a cursor that you could use on the, no? Yes, go on.
Yes, there we go.
Perfect.
There we go.
All right, so let's do this. So you come in off of 12 Mile.
Yeah.
If you're utilizing most of the strip center, you're either gonna come down, maybe, no, it went away. There we go. All right, you're gonna come down the main driveway, or you're gonna take a right and you're gonna come down this if this first row of parking is utilized.
Okay.
For the Culver site specifically, it would be coming in, and you can either come in and park here, like a normal operation, or if you're using the drive-through, you're gonna be required to go this way, because this area will be blocked.
Okay.
So if you're coming around, then ultimately, once you leave the drive-through from Culver's, you're forced to make a right turn. So this will now force this movement up to the north, and then you either have to take this main drive back out to Orchard Lake, or you need to come this way and come back down the main drive to exit to 12 Mile.
How do you enter the queue to the stacking queue? If I'm coming in off 12 Mile, I'm talking to the drive-through to stack, yeah?
Yeah, so, and that is a good question.
Thank you.
So, I know, we kind of went back and forth. So Mark and I went back and forth on this a lot to get to where we are now. So ideally, yes, this entrance would come in and you would come around and then enter the queue this way, because this is projected to be a one-way. But I see the confusion where if you have a right turn only and you come around, that it could be a little backwards.
So the way to enter the drive-through is you come in, you go all the way in past Scramblers, up into the parking lot, back down and round. And then is there a sign that says you have to come back down, and then you have to find the second entrance to come back down and join the line, the queue? I can say queue.
Yeah, directional signage, and Mark, maybe you can touch on that. Like, we went back and forth on this a lot, so.
I'm glad it's not just me.
So there could be an opportunity to come in and turn right and go into the line if the line wasn't long, correct? So the reason we didn't want traffic flow clockwise is because then, where'd that mouse go?
It's just.
Oh. That's not gonna work there. We didn't want this movement, vehicles coming out of this driveway.
Yeah, because they're gonna stack up right there.
Right,
That's gonna be.
then they're gonna block the inbound lane.
That's a bad thing.
So
Agreed.
that's why we wanted everything going the other direction.
Agreed.
And with the island how it is, in my mind, if it was a short line, they could still come in on right and get in line. If it's long, they do have to make a loop and come back, or go up the main island backtrack if it's a long queue.
What's the other alternative? The only way is to go all the way up in and back down, isn't it? That's the only way to join that line.
Well, if the line isn't too long, I believe you could turn right and turn directly into the Culver's drive-through, right?
You think you can turn right around that pork chop?
Yes. No, well, both sides are one way. One is a bypass aisle and one is a through aisle. And isn't the ordering station past that?
Maybe I'm not seeing it, but you're coming in where you've got an arrow there between the island?
The menu boards are up here.
Yeah.
So there is enough room for a vehicle to come
In
this
there
way.
and turn right?
Swing around.
Well, we could make that more gentle
We
too.
could make that more gentle.
Or could they come the other side and cut over? There's no line. I don't know. It's one-way direction, so I think there's opportunity there to make that work.
Okay,
But
but
the-
again, they're gonna be they're gonna be queuing up, someone tries to join there, and then you're gonna have the next guy coming in is gonna join that, you're gonna have back to the same thing where they're queuing up at 12 Mile again.
Well, but we don't want them blocking the inbound that close to 12 Mile going the other direction. So that's the trade-off we're working with.
I'm saying that if someone does come in through that way, then you potential that someone else is gonna join them, and you're gonna be back to the situation. You're gonna be.
It could be.
Lining up to 12 Mile.
It could be.
I think we would be okay with forcing traffic to go north and come back around to join the queue. If that's a condition of approval, we can definitely make that.
So we could close it off entirely?
Yeah.
So we've got a few conversations going because we are lost right now. I'm sorry, Mr. Aldridge.
No, it's fine, let's clarify this point.
You're following in the beginning,
But then we weren't.
Yeah, okay,
So
ask your questions, yeah.
So when you go in off a 12 Mile and there's the pork chop, you can either go straight and park, or you can take a hard right and hit the menu board, right?
Yeah, I'm saying that's a bad idea.
Well, understood. But where we're curious is so you're coming in off of 12 Mile, then how do you get to the menu board? We don't see a flow.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're kind of discussing now, is I think the best option is probably to force directional signage to come up this main drive
Yeah.
and come around to join the queue. I
Okay,
think
but
that's
then,
where we've gotten at
but
this
but then you've still got a one-way down below.
It's one way headed out only.
No, that's not the way the arrow shows.
Or, I'm sorry.
You said
You're
you
right,
could come
you're
in,
right.
go this way and
Yeah,
park.
Correct. I think
got
we could.
traffic hitting each
We
other.
could change that to one way out.
So I'm a little concerned that we're engineering on the fly.
It's been a lot of back and forth, I will tell you that much.
So do you understand why we don't want it the other way? We don't want the outbound there
Oh,
because?
yeah, for sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. We
So
get
that was
that.
what we're trying to avoid, and I think maybe in my mind, a lot of places have double ordering lanes. So in my mind, the outside lane was a double ordering lane.
Yeah.
So, typically you have two inbound order lanes and they funnel into one.
And in this case, it's the tandem, so they're back to back.
back-to-back.
Which is, from Culver's studies, a little bit quicker for the ordering process.
Okay, so I apologize, Mr. Aldred, I interrupted, so please
Totally
continue.
fine. I think we're all trying to clarify the same point here, which is trying to understand how the traffic flow works in and out, and it wasn't, yeah, it's not obvious. So, thank you. I'm sure you may have some additional follow-ups, but the two other points on this, just to clarify as well, as it's drawn here, the thick black bar, you've got a line around the actual lot, which is 123 feet wide. I guess a question I see is if there's supposed to be 5 stacking vehicles, I believe, at least two of those vehicles are half in your lot and half out of your lot. So you're not actually stacking inside of your own lot. Is that correct?
Technically, yes. And that line is open for adjustment.
Okay.
It's not a defined boundary at this point.
And similarly, the island that you have there, I think it's got a monument sign on it. There's an island there. That's not in your lot either, right?
Correct. That would be part of the overall development,
Okay.
that they would make that improvement.
Okay. One last comment. You mentioned adding 65 spaces. Those spaces are there right now, but they're not well utilized.
Correct.
And you're adding additional lighting to make it more attractive.
Correct. The paving striping is very worn out, and it's kind of used as a back storage space right now.
Right.
So those would be cleaned up.
I was a little surprised to hear that, because again, when I look on Google Maps and look on satellite images, I saw 25 cars parked behind the building. So I don't think it's quite accurate to say it's not used and we're adding 65 spaces.
Not fully utilized.
It's not, okay, it's not fully utilized, but it is utilized. So again, maybe it's going to make it more attractive to use, might be a more accurate.
I think, yeah, that's a fair statement.
And also, the idea that we're going to require them, and the landlord is already letting them know that the tenants have.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
It's going to be a requirement for the tenants to use those parking spots, because I understand how it is. Employees not necessarily just, they're going to park wherever it's convenient for them. But now, once we say this is a requirement for the plaza, including, one more time, our employees, I think it's going to be necessary. And as far as the flow goes, I know we're open, and we've been working back and forth with this. And I don't think we've been engineering on the fly. We've just been trying to work with the city, work with everybody, and make sure everybody's happy. I do want to let you know that tandem drive-through moves very, very, very quickly. I could tell you that I have several locations, and they all hit record numbers on Friday, and we never, ever had a backup in drive-through, ever. Because what happens, those tandem drive-throughs are no longer than 22 seconds each. And then what happens, you see the cars that get parked after the cash out? They go there. I believe you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're going to get parked over there. So point being is the flow goes very, very fast. This is not you're not going to see a backup in drive-through. It just doesn't happen. Like, one more time, this is truth. Record numbers on Friday, because we're a big Lent, fish and chips is a big deal for us. Never did we have a backup. And it's important for us operationally that we don't have a backup, because guests don't want to come into a line that has a long line, right? So it's important to us that we keep it moving. So I do think that we'll do a great job with this. And just letting you guys know, I've been very, very committed to being here in Farmington Hills. I think I've been doing everything I possibly do. Culver's is basically shut up all new franchisees in Michigan and there's very few spots left open. And this is like my one last expansion in one place that I could be. And I know last time we spoke about, you know, what it's like, and I just want to make sure you guys understand that it's gonna be me and Ron working there every day. We're not a big corporation. We're just two individuals who invested all our time and all our money to be part of Farmington Hills. We're not a corporation. This is Ron and Derek Sasse, who's invested over the last year to try and be part of this community. And we want to do a good job, and we want to do you guys proud, and I think we will.
Okay, other questions? Yeah, please.
I do, okay.
So I have two questions. The first one is on signage. Can you use the cursor one more time to show me exactly where your sign is going to go?
For Culver's itself?
Yep.
There is not going to be a monument sign proposed at this time.
Okay, you are going to be on the existing monument sign.
Correct.
Okay, so that leaves me to one of my concerns. I have a picture here on my phone. I'm going to reference it because I sat in the parking lot since the last council meeting. I have sat in that parking lot to watch the flow of traffic myself. And because I mentioned at the last council meeting, you may remember, so when you come in off a 12 Mile, and I wish I could show you, but I can use my pen, but that's about all
I'll try to
I can
follow.
do. So you come in, and you know, you can either go straight or you can go right when you come in.
Yep.
A lot of people come in, they immediately go right, and then they immediately go left, and they go up that aisle to
Secondary.
park in there. Or what I notice is a lot of them will go there to go over to Starbucks. They do not actually go up the kind of what you would call the main road. And I also noticed that a lot of cars, and I have pictures of it, actually sit and block the main road because there's a bunch of carry-out restaurants there. And so rather than park and get out of their car, they kind of just pull up in that main road on both sides, jump out, get their carry-out, or let their passenger out to get their carry-out. And they sometimes block that road because while it is wide enough for two cars, when people see a car there, I think their natural reaction is to go right and then go left. Even if there isn't a car there, people just do that. And it's very tight because it's a tight turn to begin with because of the way the curbing is when you come in off of 12. But then at the end, I'll call it the end cap of where you park, that also kind of jets out. And it's really bad in the winter because that's where they plow the snow to, which makes that end cap way wider than it is. It's even difficult to navigate in the summer and at night when it's dark in that lot. But then when there's snow, it's even worse. And I've driven over that myself. So then the other concern is, so that's really tight in there. And then the other thing is you've got this big monument sign here. Right now there are 4 ballards or caissons surrounding it. And again, it's not the best location for that sign. It really is in the way. I saw people drive on either side of it to go north to then make the turn to go to Starbucks, and you've got to avoid those ballards around it. So what would be the possibility of getting that large monument sign moved someplace else? Because it's not in a great location, and I think it's actually quite dangerous with the way you are potentially having traffic coming in right, but then you're also having traffic coming in from the north going south. And it's gonna be tight in there because you're gonna have cars parked here and they're gonna be pulling out. And they're kind of, basically those cars that are parked are like pulling out into the drive-through lane.
I think that's
And then you've got that large monument.
yeah, I think that's.
I know that's a lot, but my
Well,
point is, I think that monument sign needs to be moved, and I think those end caps have got to be changed, the dimensions of those end caps. It's too tight in there, and if you have anyone with a large vehicle or a box truck, someone trying to get their lunch or dinner who's on there doing deliveries in a box truck, they're gonna run right over all that stuff.
No, I appreciate your concern. My only thing is, I think that's more of a question to the plaza owner.
I agree, but
we don't own that, we don't own that.
I know that, but I think that's something that needs to go back to the plaza owner, just like you worked with the plaza owner on parking.
Yeah.
And I am a bit concerned on the parking, because I know it's easy to say, say that the businesses are going to tell their tenants to park there. And sometimes that lasts for a little bit, but then you get new employees, or it's dark, it's snowy, it's rainy, they don't want to walk, and when they get to work, the parking lot's not full, and they think, what does it matter? And they just park there, and lo and behold, 3 hours later, it fills up, and they're not going to go move their car.
No.
And really, the tenant owner can't even force them to.
Yeah.
It's very hard to enforce that.
Yeah, and I've experienced that as an owner myself, but I do reinforce, and also, most of those tenants do have backdoor entrances. So, you know, as far as the walk,
True.
they do have backdoor entrances that they can use, actually, oftentimes.
That helps, you're right.
more convenient. And then, I'm open talking the plaza, but I also think like, yeah, I know that sign is a separate department completely, so they may have reason why they want that there. I don't know. I don't want to make assumptions that you could go ahead and move a huge monument sign, because I think that would be a huge assumption.
And that goes through a separate permit.
Exactly, it's a completely separate department. Sign has nothing to do with engineering, so I don't want to speak on it. I don't think it'd be wise for me to go ahead and say we can move that, because for one is I don't own it.
Yeah.
And that's probably the big thing, I don't own it. And then the city
And that was,
sign company would have to.
yeah, the bollards around the sign is definitely, it was like a hazard. And so that's why this plan now proposes curbing around that, at least, to help protect that. Regarding the snow plowing issue, you know, with the sign aspect, it could be a condition that we go back and we make an attempt with the owner to say, hey, when we plow snow, these are the places it has to go. Like, we've done that on other projects in the past.
I could also commit that.
Microphone.
I could also make a commitment, us as culverts could go ahead, and when we do our snow plow, that we could commit to doing that part as well, if that's a concern for you guys. We could easily put that in our contract with our snow plower. I just don't, the sign thing, I don't want to make false promises. I don't
No,
want to tell you.
I understand. It's not your responsibility, it's not up to you, but.
Listen, I would love a monument sign myself, you know, like for us, we would love a monument sign, you know, but doesn't look like that was, you know, a possibility for us, because I would take my own monument sign. It would definitely improve our business.
Right, yeah.
Okay. Sure, yes. First, I'd like to thank our engineering department, because they have bending backwards to help you make this work. But I do have some concerns about some of the information that I have heard tonight. I'm very familiar with that shopping center. There's probably not a business there that I haven't gone into at one point or another. And we talk about the parking in the back, and I assume that's way in the back? Okay.
It's behind the L Plaza.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, it's separated by a typical turn
Now, for many years, I was an avid yoga participant. And, you know, there's a yoga shop right there. And although they don't meet every hour and every day, they meet quite often, or they're open quite often. And there is a problem with parking. Even in the back of the site that you said that there was ample parking there, there's really not ample parking. Because if the yoga place is open, and there was at one point another dance company or something there, those spots in the back were always taken. They were not available. And it was also very difficult to find parking in front of the yoga shop. I have driven that probably for the last couple of weeks there, and the parking lot is really full. Even with Scrambler, I've noticed all the cars, and I really don't know how the parking situation is going to work in that location. At one time, before they rebuilt 12 Mile or some reconstruction, there was a separate turn lane into the parking shopping center. That's gone, and so it really makes it more difficult to even enter the shopping plaza. And because it's, you know, you got cars stacking in back, you're trying to turn, and if there are cars in front of you, it's really problematic. But more so than anything, you know, before today, we had a study session, and it was really about our 12-mile corridor project, what we wanted to look like, how do we envision the future there. And one of the things we talked a lot about is green space, and especially in those areas that are closer to 12 Mile, to get a great look for the city. Now, in this particular project, we're asking that the menu board be up close to 12 Mile, and that instead of the usually the required setback, I think was 120, and here it's like 44. Personally, I don't like that look. I don't like the look of, if we're planning for the future, we have plans of how we want that stretch to look from Orchard Lake, let's say, down to Haggerty. As we go further down Haggerty, it looks a lot of green space, a lot of trees, but in that area, to have the menu board so close to the street, for me, is very concerning, and I don't like the look of it. And also, it's just the parking situation and how difficult, since we no longer have that right-hand dedicated turn lane into the shopping center, it's much more difficult to get in there. And even though we say that we're gonna do certain things, I look at Burger King. You know, in Burger King, when you exit the Burger King, you should only turn west. And there is a sign that says no left turns. Everybody turns left when they're coming out. And so it stacks up on 12 Mile. It's hard to, you know, people just don't, for whatever reason, they don't pay attention. Maybe it's sometimes they get tickets, but it does not prevent them from doing that, from making that turn. So I am concerned about the project as it currently, you know, is presented before us tonight. And one of my major concerns is the parking, because I know that on an average day, if you go through that shopping plaza, there are many more cars than I ever anticipated. And I've been there, you know, now that Starbucks is back there, when those cars are coming through, I think as Councilman Knowles said, they don't take that entrance or that drive and go all the way back and then make that turn to right. They navigate, they turn, they cut through to, you know, save time to get to the Starbucks. And now we're gonna have one of my favorite places, Culvert. I really like it, but I just don't think that that is the right spot for the culverts at this time, because it's just, I can't see it working. And I just don't like the look of the menu sign so close to the street, and that with the disappearance of that right-hand turn lane from 12 Mile, it makes it much more difficult unless some traffic expert can convince me otherwise.
Definitely understand all the concerns, so let me try to go through and make sure. So we talked about the right turn lane, the menu board and the landscape in the front, parking, and then the Burger King and the bank, kind of the setbacks. So let's start with the menu board and the landscaping.
Okay.
Because that's kind of the low-hanging fruit there. So I think we talked about this the last time we were in front of you guys, that there was like 5 or 6 existing larger trees that are up in the front, and then that's going to be supplemented with additional landscaping.
Do you have any renderings of that? 'Cause
I wish I
sometimes
did.
it's hard.
I wish I would have put it in this packet. It would have
Yes,
been
you
much
should have,
easier.
because that would make a big difference to see something what it's actually going to look like,
So,
rather than
so
trying
there's
to
a two-dimensional
reimagine.
copy of
Yeah.
it, but, which also shows kind of, let me see if I can highlight this. Around the menu boards themselves, around the base, there will be additional plantings. So there is shrubbery and like native grasses planned along those. And then in addition to the 6 or so existing trees that are up here, there's an additional hedgerow. So you can see there's 22 hedges on this side, and then an additional 32 on the east, basically splitting that sidewalk.
Will the vegetation there, will it hide the sign? Would you
Yes.
be,
It's
would you
intended
be
to
able
hide the
to
signs.
see it from 12 Mile?
Should not
You
be
will
able to
not be
see the
able to
menu
see it.
boards from 12.
And you don't have any renderings of that for me to look at, for us to look at?
We can work on those. We can work on those, but it was more important for us to provide the renderings for the back of the plaza because we thought a parking was a bigger point. You know, so we wanted to make sure we hit those, but we're with you. I get you. I'm not a big fan of it too.
Yeah.
And those, the intended use of those shrubberies is to block it, and you should not see it. You won't. And we want it to look good too. I want to hit that home. We want this to look, we like curb appeal, and we maintain it, and we do a good job.
You know,
Not Burger King, you know, we're
that,
not.
that,
I'm not
that
here to-
12 Mile Orchard Lake, that's like the entranceway to our city, the
I agree.
gateway. And I want it to look good.
And we do too. You know, we do too. I'm with you. And that's our attempt. And we'll maintain it too. I think that's important. I know a lot of people put in this fancy landscape and then we spend all this money doing it and we don't maintain it. But you have I spent a lot of money on landscape. I want it looking just as good as you, maybe even better.
Okay. So what about the parking? I mean, because there are a lot of cars. I don't know what date the study was done, but I purposely drove by that space for about 5 days straight, just various times, going to the library, to the post office, because that's the route that I take. And there were a lot of cars.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially at Scramblers.
And I know city staff mentioned that they're going through a planning change with their consultant, but Charmaine, I don't know if you could speak to the parking calculations that were done on that portion.
The parking calculations within what we have for the planning review are calculated based on the zoning ordinance standards. So what they have in their parking studies are meant to be more of a real-time situation. Our parking standards are just parking standards. So what they have proposed with the additional striping that we're anticipating they can accommodate on site will meet the minimum of the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, but some of that includes the parking spaces behind the building.
Yes.
Which, I don't know if it's true that those are available. They may be there, but I think many of those businesses that are back there in that little courtyard, a lot of them use those spaces, and it's really difficult. And if you have employees using that, that's less space for people who are visiting, like Thrive Yoga, the watch company. There's a couple of other places back there. And if I know they say they did it on a Saturday, but if you go there through a Thursday or Friday, you will see that those spaces aren't available. They're
Zoning
not.
ordinance is neutral on that. We calculate it based on a 75% occupancy of the space, the total space within it. So 75% of the gross square footage is what is used for a shopping center, anticipating that you're going to have a difference in the time frame that certain uses are popular and certain time frames that others will be popular, so that there's the overlap of that. It may be that this particular shopping center is busier than our standard shows.
I think it
and it
is,
is
yeah.
discretion of the council to determine whether or not this particular use is a good fit, because you're working through this as a PUD amendment. So it meets the minimum for the zoning ordinance standards. That can be something that is useful for the council, and you can make a determination that the particular characteristics of this site are unique.
Okay, all right,
Anything else?
that's it, that's it.
Dr. Starkman, anything?
I feel like everybody has kind of already spoken to some of the same things I was thinking. I am not an engineer. I don't think well with diagrams. It's not my it's not my background. So it's you know, I'm more of a general verbal visual person. So looking at this, it pretty much means nothing to me. And I wish that there were more specific renderings, like Councilman Bullard said, because this is just lines and squiggles to my brain. But it just, I don't know, it just seems like there's some things that still are not set enough for me to, like, I really want this, but I feel like there are so many things that are still just not set enough for me to feel comfortable wanting to move forward with it. But maybe you have more to say that you haven't shared yet.
Well, I guess I would just ask the question of, we've talked about parking and the screening for the front. Is there additional items that would make your list?
Well, I guess are you doing a tandem drive-through? Like, is it going to be 2 lanes?
It's a single lane, but it's 2 ordering boards in front of each other.
In
So I'll speak
series.
on that. So what happens is you could take 2 orders simultaneously, which avoids backups. So what happens is after you take those 2 orders, we pull them forward. We say, please pull out to the cash. And then if you notice from the tandem, from the 2 menu boards, all the way up to the cash out, how many cars can you fit from there to
You
there?
can fit another 2 in here, but there's 2 at the window now, so you can technically fit 4.
Exactly, so you can fit 4. So then you get to the cash out point, and then I hate to say it so bluntly, then we take their money, and then we pull them forward, and then you could fit another, I believe, is 6 cars. So what happens is, the reason we do this now is it avoids backups. You will never have a backup, because now you're talking about 6, 4, you have 10 cars that you could essentially have 4 before, and so basically, at your busiest peak time, you have 10 cars that are in front of the ordering point. So point being is, you never have anything behind that, because you could have 10, I mean, that's busy, to have 10 cars waiting for their food or in line. We're never gonna have more than 10 cars. So basically that means you can have 0 cars behind the 2 tandems, because we're able to move them forward. We're different from it's different if call it your fast food restaurant, because they park their cars, meaning that they don't park their cars. So those cars have to wait for them to get the food at the cash out point. So that's what happens when you see backups. We don't have those backups, because we're able to move them forward. We give them a number, a little sticky note on their car, and then they move forward. And then you have those 6 spots where you can park them forward. And this avoids, like I said, record days Friday, we never had a backup one time. Especially with the tandem. The tandem it's huge. It's a big deal, because you could take 2 cars simultaneously and keep them moving.
So Ms. Nall has a question. I have a couple. And Mr. Alder, did you have another question?
It was back to the traffic study, since I
Yeah,
think.
that's where I was going to go.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Okay, your radius. I know you have a radius where you have to be within a certain distance from other locations. What is that radius, and what is your circle? Are you able to share that? Like, how far west, east, north, and south can you go?
We're literally stuck on this corner. So what happens, I know it sounds crazy, but there's a number of different things. So technically, you have a 3-mile radius. But what happens, what Culver's does is, especially now, they closed off Michigan for any new franchisees. And what they did is they did a plan and said, hey, if you're going to expand, we're giving you this little area. And if you went, let's say, a mile west or a mile, you are going to impact existing Culver's. We are very different from, we're not really an impulse place, meaning, whereas if we go too close to another location, Culver's feels we're going to impact them. And we don't want to impact other Culver's. So if it's a night, so even though the rule is 3 miles, in some cases, they won't allow another Culver's to be within 6 miles, because if it impacts that other Culver's, they won't allow it. So they did, this is just recently, within the last couple of years, they said, hey, Derek, if you want to expand, we're giving you this little corner. This is where you could go, because we don't want you to impact Commerce Township. We don't want you to impact Novi. We don't want to impact, there's other locations that we could potentially impact, and that they won't allow it.
So what about on Orchard Lake, about a half a mile west of Orchard Lake, a half a mile? I mean, in a way, it's not reasonable to basically say you have one corner, because what if nothing is for sale or lease on that corner? I mean, what about a half a mile west? Are you allowed to go there?
They're going to do an impact study, and we just recently consulted with them based on this. And also, I will let you know that Dan is here. We have approached everyone who is possible within where culverts will allow us. We haven't got anywhere. And I do want to say is we've been committed to this site for the last almost 18 months, and we've made a lot of investments towards this site, and I know that's not your problem, but we've been really committed to this site. It's not easy just to pivot and find another location because, for one, is I'm very financially invested in this. I put every dollar I have towards this, where we're at right now, just to get to this point, and to just see that all go away and try to start from scratch is going to be very hard for me to do financially. That's not. And time has been a big deal, and we don't want to see it. We don't want to lose it. It's a big deal to us. It's our lives.
How are you mentioned, even though, so when you turn in off of 12 and you go right, you said you were going to prevent people from going north in the lane that they're going to be coming south in to get into the drive-through. How are you going to do that? Because right now you can turn right in off of 12 and you can either go straight kind of toward the drive-through, or you can come in and kind of go up. Yeah, and you said they're not going to be allowed to do that because the problem is you've got cars coming from the north going south to get into the drive-through. You also have cars, east-west cars on both sides of the lane that need to be able to back out and get out of their parking spot. So it looks like a cluster there, especially when you have traffic going at each other.
It's certainly.
Right now, you got an arrow there, and a minute ago, you said, well, no, the arrow goes the other way. That's where people can exit. Okay, so that's fine. Maybe the arrow got drawn the wrong direction. I get that, but how are you going to prevent people from going in there?
I think that was maybe a misunderstanding or a misexplanation on my part, so I apologize.
Okay.
It is a one-way into this, and then the one-way out is on the north side there.
But how can then they're driving on the wrong side of the road. If
Correct.
they turn in there, they are driving opposite. They're driving up north on the wrong side of the road because people are coming from the north south to get into the drive-through. You can't have that.
There is a crossover there.
That's going to cause a huge accident.
And we're
because
open to.
people are not used to the English. John is used to driving that way. In England, but in Michigan, we don't drive that way.
No, understood. And that's where we did go back and forth with city staff a lot on that because of those movements. And we're still open to changing that if that's what we want to do. I think maybe that island, that pork chop island or that Monuments on Island can both be modified to better those movements.
And that was just us working with them.
Yeah.
Working with the city.
Yeah, and I don't know the answer here, but I just
We can
have real
modify that.
concerns with traffic driving on the wrong side of the road.
Okay, so traffic.
Yeah.
Tell me where I'm wrong on this, please, because I would love to be wrong on this.
I hope so. I say that nicely.
I want you to be wrong.
Yeah.
I want me to be awful wrong. So what I read from the traffic report is today, if I want to leave this shopping center, it's 53 seconds to get out of there. And under the study, if I want to leave this shopping center, I know, why would I? But if I wanted to, it now takes almost twice as long. It's 120 seconds instead of 53. That, to me, is a problem. So please tell me where I'm wrong.
You absolutely caught us in that, and that is not very accurate description in the previous version of the report, which we did receive guidance from city staff, which is very helpful to advise us to perform more observation and perform more accurate modeling. So what we found is that the exit aisle from the 12 miles road driveway
Mhm.
that is extra wide. So the width is around 21 foot wide. And drivers, when there are both people want to make a left-hand turn and people want to make a right-hand turn, they do treat that one as two-lane exit. So, and with that, so that is one improvement that we made in the latest update. And that bring the delay down much closer to what we observed in the field. So in the field, through our observation, the delay is definitely not 52 or 50-ish seconds for drivers to wait and get out of the shopping plaza. And the other aspect that we improved is considering the location of the driveway exiting on 12 Mile to the traffic signal, which is at 12 Mile and Orchard Lake Road. Because of the traffic signal there's the metering effect that it's not a uniform traffic flow on the westbound direction approaching this driveway intersection.
Right.
And that traffic signal metering effect does provide large gaps in the westbound traffic flow, and drivers make use of the large gaps. So some drivers, they would tend to wait for a little bit, and then the large gaps would present that outbound flow from the shopping plaza. They can be serviced very efficiently. So those delay numbers have come down quite a bit.
Yeah.
So in the latest version, comparing between the existing condition to the modeled build condition, the left turn delay is predicted to be increased by about 4 seconds per vehicle. And the right turn increase is about just over 1 second per vehicle. So that's a large difference from the previous version.
That, however, is not what's been presented to us.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And so I have to tell you, my neighbors want a Culver's too. I think you would see a lot of head nodding here of folks who want a Culver's. Our problem is that the good people of Farmington Hills put us here to bring forward projects that are ready. And in my reading of what has been presented to us, we haven't seen what we need to see on the traffic study. There are still a little questions. You may have submitted it to each other, but it hasn't been submitted to us. We are still really confused about which way these arrows are going and which way the traffic's going to go. And I've heard you say at least 4 times, and understand, remember, I'm the one who wants you here, okay? But I've heard you say at least 4 times, well, we could do it this way, or we could do it that way. When it comes to us, we need to be able to say, yes, it's ready. And go to our residents and say, it's ready. I'm not hearing that. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Mark.
I'm going to give you a quick summary where we're at. So we did receive a response to our previous review, the one that you saw, the letter that went out with the questions on Thursday night.
Right.
So we didn't have time to get through that study before tonight. It's almost 100 pages. We did give you a memo that they responded with their answers to those questions.
We saw that.
And there were a lot of improvements, and I think those improvements were a function of a lot of different things. I don't think Luke was on the project at the beginning, so we had a change in staff during the study. The study didn't quite reflect all the field conditions that were out there, the way traffic was operating. And based on our questions and us asking for more in-depth review, they changed that model. And that's where these different numbers have come through in this revised study that we have not quite finished the review on yet. And there are improvements shown in that based on using the actual geometrics that are out there after the Road Commission's project, based on how they saw the approaches operating in person, based on field observation of the cues that they made sure their model reasonably represented. So We have seen improvements, we just haven't been through the study at this time. So that summary does tell some of those and what they expect, and they went so far as to say, in the study, which I did not, in any of the other studies, that there was minimum delay, minimum increases in delay. They did not feel there were any safety issues that would arise from this plan and all the other questions in line with that. So this is the first time they've addressed those and said that.
Great.
So that's where we are though.
So if hypothetically, this were to come back in 2 weeks, on March 9th, will everybody be ready to land the plane on these issues that we've brought up? Can you show us what the landscaping will look like in a way that non-engineers, which by the way is all of us but for one, are non-engineers. So John interprets for us a lot, or sorry, Mr. Aldred interprets for us a lot. But if you could help us visualize what's going to happen on this really important corridor in our city, what will it look like? Which way is the traffic really going to go? Because we can't tell from this. We really want to say yes.
Well, say yes, I know, just checking. Just to confirm, I want to get on the same page as him. You're looking for renderings for the landscaping?
Let us see it, yeah.
At least where it's going to block the signage, right?
Yeah.
Because the turnaround on this sometimes is not that fast. So I just want to make sure we're prepared and I want to know exactly what you guys want.
And I'm only one of 7 of us, so, you know, you all chime in too, please.
Okay, so we got the renderings for the landscaping.
A traffic turning plan so we can visualize how we.
Well, you also have to address the fact that you've got traffic driving on the wrong side of the road when it's coming in from the bottom, but you also have traffic coming down north to south trying to pull into those spots. They're aiming both for the same spots like this. You can have a head-on collision, and then you also have the people coming in from the drive-through. I can't support that. That is just not proper traffic flow. I want you there too, I really do, but I gotta make sure the traffic flow works and that we're following traffic patterns and driving on the right side of the road.
Understood. Yeah, and I think Mark and I will probably be on the phone every day to get that sorted.
Yeah.
I think that's important. Like, we need to be on commitment, like, get everyone on the same page, because sometimes, I know he's done a great job, but I just want to make sure it is, I'm even willing to pay for extra fast turnaround, but sometimes we submit and then it takes a while. Right? So, you know, we have to wait for us to get a response. And you know, this is definitely not pointing fingers, but I just want to make sure you understand, we were ready. We did everything we could possibly do to get turned around as fast as possible. And this was me. I give people crap every day. Like, he hates me. They all hate me because I'm annoying and I'm pushing, and I'm trying to get the fast turnaround, but we also want to be polite and we also want to wait for comments too. So sometimes that's what happens. We have to wait for comments, and when we get them back, we turn around in 48 hours, but, you know, we have to wait to get the comments.
And I got
So for our team, do we think that this is doable to bring back in 2 weeks?
I can have that reviewed in less than 10 days.
Okay.
Well,
and then that was going
Needs
to be
come
my
to us,
question.
right? Then it needs to come to us to.
And it needs to come to us, right? So here's the timeline.
do you want to do more than 2 weeks then? Because if he's saying 10 days, that sounds like, you know, I mean, what do we do?
They gotta address this traffic.
And that was going to be
issue.
my
It's not
question is
just-
how far ahead of that meeting would you need revised plans? And that's going to probably be at least a week, so that now we've crammed it to a week, and we want to make sure we address all the concerns.
So council packets are locked and loaded on Thursday before a council meeting.
Okay.
And if it isn't in our hands, ready to distribute, because we get it Friday afternoon.
Okay.
So there's that.
There's one other thing that needs to be addressed.
Go ahead.
There's one other thing you need to assure me of. So the parking spaces at the very far north end of the property, okay? That are shaded. Can you assure me that when people back out of those spaces, they are not going to be in the queuing line for Starbucks? because now everyone coming to Starbucks is going to be turning in. If they come in from 12 Mile, they've got to drive all the way north, make a right-hand turn, and go all the way, and then turn into one of those drive lanes to then get in that queuing line.
We'll look at that queuing as part
We
of
got to be sure. We can't have cars backing out into the queuing line when Starbucks gets backed up.
Fair enough, we can look at that.
And then before we have a motion, just as for council's awareness, the folks from Scrambler would still like to address us. And I think
And
that's,
now you can decide how long you want to postpone this for. I mean, is that okay? Are we going to go for a postponement? Is that
if
something?
we were to go for a postponement, we want y'all to be ready.
Yes, we want to be ready too.
What is our first meeting in April?
That's fine.
April 13th.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that's okay.
we don't want to have you back in 2 weeks or 4 weeks and not have it ready.
We won't
Because
be ready.
you've looked at all of us and we've all said, we really want you here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just,
I'm not,
We need to
Teresa,
do
I'll
our
just be
job.
calling you.
yeah, I was just gonna add, I know you said like you're being, polite and everything else. I think it's not even a matter of that. It's just a matter of all of us are sitting up here tasked to make sure that we're bringing something to our community that is going to be, in the best interests of everybody.
Yeah.
We all have, as the mayor is fond of saying, we have 84,000 bosses. That's a lot of people that we answer to. So I
No,
think
understood,
it's more
yeah.
of, I think it's more of an issue of like, are we making sure that we're really putting something of quality there as opposed to something that's just kind of half-assed and slapped together to just go in a space?
No, I respect it.
That's my thinking.
100% respect it, but just stay on the same page. We're looking for renderings for landscape.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for,
Traffic turning, traffic islands, and the north space queuing not being blocked by Starbucks, or the queuing for Starbucks not blocking the northern space.
Yeah, and I would ask that you have renderings, not just for the front, where the landscaping is going to be, renderings for the traffic, how they're going to enter that complex.
AI can do this for you now.
Visuals go a long way for those individuals who don't don't read plans. I'm not an engineer.
we'll get with our
I like to see things that's easily to understand. And I would think one of the, here in Farmington Hills, we encourage restaurants to locate here because that is something that our residents want. But we want to make certain it's the right one. And you'd be surprised that if this project goes through, you'll probably have more customers than you ever imagined because we're right for some additional, restaurant space. But we have to keep in mind that there are other businesses in that location as well, and we want to do right by them too.
we do too.
Yeah, but, yeah.
Okay.
I'm just gonna at least, I know it's not your responsibility, but if you can at least talk to the landlord about the end caps, if they would be willing to redesign the end caps, and I doubt they're gonna move that monument sign. And I'm not even sure if there's another place to move it to, because then we have to be careful about blocking the view, and it's really tight there. So,
Big thing with zoning.
yeah, that one probably won't work, but
We'll skip the sign. We'll work on the
We can definitely work with the islands. It doesn't hurt to ask the question on the
Yeah.
sign. We'll see what we
I
can
just
do.
don't want to get them too upset, because then we have to ask for more time now, because then we're supposed to close on this, and I keep giving them non-refundable deposits, so, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay, so we still, thank you, if we could please hear from Mr. Karan. I'm sorry, and you,
ask a question.
Do you mind if I ask something on this drawing?
you're here, you asked to speak, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, well, then this is your time to speak.
You've always got the drawing up. I don't see, can you show me how you access, like in our business, you have the first row of parking in
So could
front
you
of
introduce yourself, please, to speak for the people
Randall
walking at
Karen.
home? Thank you.
from Scramblers. We
Yes.
own the Scramblers.
Right.
Been there 15 years.
Yes.
And I appreciate the effort you're putting into this thing. 'Cause for us, it's our business. But I don't see on the drawing where so that first row in front of is parked, and the pictures I sent you, the whole next 2 rows are always full, Friday and Saturday. They're eliminating half of those 2 rows, and I don't see how you access, it shows 2 rows of parking, but it doesn't show how you access behind there. What are they gonna do? They're gonna pull in the culverts and park backwards in there.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, you can't get in there. And they're taking, it's like you're putting this here and saying, scramblers, forget it, we're gonna take all your parking. We're gonna give you 1 row. And by the way, all our employees park in back. All the stores do, because that's where the access is to where they keep their clothes, where they come in the back of the building. Nobody parks in front. So all those parking spaces that you're adding, Mark, is just not, it does nothing. You're pulling it out of thin air. You're closing all our parking right in front of our building. I thought when I first saw this, it wasn't going to touch the first row and the next 2 rows. That's our business. The pictures I showed you, you can go in there any Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Those rows are packed. They just always are. Even on a Thursday, they're packed. So I don't know where those people are supposed to park. I have no idea. You know, we support culverts. We support that lot. Mark mentioned that one day you guys might develop a cross 12 mile there. And then we talked about if you stick a traffic light there, man, you solve a lot of problems. We solve a parking issue, but you solve a lot of problems. But these guys are just taking all our parking right in front of our restaurant. What did we do? I mean, what they're doing in the parking study shows that like Charmaine said, it meets a certain number. Yeah, but that's if you're assuming that our customers are going to park behind everything and walk all the way over. You know, it's very specific to our business, and they're just taking them all. And it's going to be a mess getting in and out of there. You caught it really good. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how you get into any of those parking spots. There's a curb in front, so you can't pull in this way. You have to go, every car has to go down that backside. They can go left and park, but how are they going to get to that second row? You're showing parking, but there's no way to get into it. Unless, am I missing something?
Thank you.
How do you get into these back parking spots?
That's what we've asked to be clarified.
Right, that's what we've asked to be clarified, so
That's
thank
what
you.
we're trying to understand too.
Yeah, I heard the traffic. I didn't hear about how do you get into any of those? Because our customers are going to park there.
Thank you.
They're going to open at 11, but
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, they open at 11 and you close at 3.
Right, so, but at 11, those parking spots are all going to be full.
Got it.
But
Thank you.
anyway, I'm not here to dump, we'd love to see something developed in that lot. You know, we've been here a long time, it'd be nice. Culvers, sure, just not right there. Right now, it's just, they're doing everything they can to make it work, and
Thank you.
so anyway,
All righty.
we appreciate your support, we really do. And we started our remodel, so you guys can come in and check it out.
Look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Yes, please.
I'll make a motion to postpone. Let it resolve that the application to amend PUD Plan 12-2014, include Site Plan 60-7-2025, dated revised February 12, 2026, submitted by Ron Susi, is postponed to a city council meeting on April 13th, 2026.
Okay. We have a motion and we have a second. This is a regular vote, I believe. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Okay, we will see you April 13th. Hopefully, we can land the plane and everybody's got it figured out. Appreciate you. Okay, that then takes us to item number 4, new business. Consider consideration to approve a temporary monthly salary increase as discussed in closed session and presented to council at the regular session for Assistant City Manager Karen Mondora as additional compensation for performing the duties of acting city manager retroactive to December 19, 2025, and continuing through and until the effective date of council's appointment to fill the vacant city manager position. Is there a motion?
Sure.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'll move to approve a temporary salary increase of $3,000 for Assistant City Manager Karen Mondora as additional compensation for performing the duties of acting city manager retroactive to December 19, 2025, and continuing through and until the effective date of City Council's appointment of a person to fill the vacant city manager position, at which time the Assistant City Manager's salary shall return to its pre-December 19, 2025 amount, plus any budgeted annual salary increase that has otherwise become applicable to the Assistant City Manager's position as of that time.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, this is a regular vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Carries. That then takes us to public comment. I have precisely one card submitted for public comment. Mr. Inglis.
Hello there. My name is Ray Ingalls. I am a resident of Farmington Hills, live on Chapelway Drive. And I just wanted to bring a little something to your attention that I found out recently. I have done some FOIA requests in the past for various things from Farmington Hills. And then I asked for the contracts and policy, Farmington Hills Police Department policies for the use of the clock system around here. And I did get the contract and found out that we've spent, $500,000 over the last 5 years on that. But when I asked for the policies, like the rules for who gets to use it, what do they get to use it for, why, how is it tracked and audited, those don't exist. There are no policies for how Farmington Hills uses it. I can send you guys the public records request number that I gave for it. And that's kind of concerning to me, considering just a quick Google search, got 9 cases of, on the first few pages of police officers tracking their spouses, their exes, the boyfriends and girlfriends of their exes. One enterprising officer managed to get marketing research for the business, his side business. I don't think that should be allowed. I think there should be policies in place for, again, who gets to use it, what do they get to use it for, how is this tracked and audited? If somebody does misuse it, how would anyone know? I couldn't find out whether we're on the national lookup setup, which allows any other police department in the country to search our records. But that is an option, and if you opt into that, there it is, but I couldn't find that out. I would like a little more tracking. One fun bit, another newspaper did some FOIAs about this, and some of the justifications for using the flock system that were in there were suspect, or donut, or ASDF on the keyboard. I think we should do better than that. And I just want to bring this to your attention. I don't know if the city attorney can answer whether you having public notice of this increases your liability if there is a failure, but I really think that y'all should look into this and maybe do a little oversight on that. I can give you your 10 seconds back. Thank you very much.
Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Okay, there being no further items to come before the council, we are adjourned. We will see you on March 9th and hope to see the city's address on the 6th, 7 p.m. at Farmington High. We're adjourned.